Hello, my beautiful people. We are here. Welcome to the status quo. I know it's been a minute. We had summer, which means lots of kids every which way and everywhere. Look at you. You got a headset this time. I remember when we were doing these last time, you had that one little like earpiece. Anyways, we are back and we are heading straight out of the gate with the talking about the government and their manipulation over its citizens. What does that mean for us? Us lowly people that do not hold government positions.
Uh, I could say a couple things, but
Please
not
say them all.
right out of the gate.
Please say them all. Let's get some ideas out there and we'll go ahead and talk about them.
Let me pull this up.
I've had a lot of people. I've talked to a bunch of people about this, and there's two things that consistently come up when it comes to somewhat relatively, one of them is a very recent example, and the other is a I told you so kind of example. The most recent being the pandemic and everything surrounding that, using fear to control the people, forcing them to get these vaccines, making people to be outcasts if they didn't, vilifying people who didn't get the vaccine, whatever. And then also the other reoccurring, yes, there you are. Welcome, Panda.
I've got that one.
The other one was the comparison between Life Now and George Orwell's 1984 and the way it described life, how life would be in the future. Obviously, we're way past 1984, but the idea of the book still stands true. So, go ahead, JB. Give me some of your thoughts there.
Ooh,
I love your brain.
Okay,
I gotta say really quick. I absolutely love your brain. I love where it goes, and sometimes it is the most deepest pool to dive into. Other times it is the best trip to dive into. So, go ahead.
So for any of the viewers that haven't seen it, the movie V for Vendetta. Let's use that since you use the 1984 as a kind of a Big Brother. We've already seen 1984 happen with the Snowden leak and how the NSA, DOJ, all these alphabet organizations, they just constantly monitor us. I mean, they have fucking keystroke algorithm software where as soon as you type in a certain word, say like you put in one sentence assassinate and president, like you could be talking about the presidential assassinations of past. But this shit will take it, recognize those two words, and you'll be logged into a fucking catalog saying, okay, this person could be a threat. Now, most people think, oh, you're being paranoid, you're being overcautious. No, because I remember during a documentary about the Secret Service during the Trump administration. This was during the Trump administration. They were showing how they were using Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all these media platforms, even fucking Reddit. Even Reddit is now a part of it. And they'll go in using that software and they'll find these people, crazy motherfuckers, supposedly, and they fucking black flag them or fucking red flag them as fucking potential terrorists.
Right. No, you're right. I mean, I think that a lot of, what happens is for whatever reason. It could be, oh, well, the people are starting to think too much for themselves, which is dangerous. To them, it's dangerous to them, not to us. It's dangerous to the establishment, because when they don't get that support that they need, then they will topple. And they know this. We've all seen the pictures of it where the masses are holding up a platform with the elites on top, and one person stands up or lets go and the whole thing starts falling apart because everyone starts to follow that trend of not following along with whatever the media and the government's trying to say. You see it. You see these examples. You see people waking up to it. But
so, fuck. I mean, and plus you've got a couple of these, these groups where they're going around and they're doing okay. So like, if you're a survivalist group, if you are a prepper, if you have foodstuffs, supplies, the ability to live without governmental aid, or like you're a hunter, you go out there and hunt. You got all this shit. You got all these guns for hunting, not to go raise a fucking coup, but to survive. Sorry, my neighbors are being loud.
You're fine. We
Like
can't hear.
always, I'm having to mute in and out. So what happens when you live next to a bunch of freaking weirdos, I guess. But no, so I'm saying is like they'll take these individuals. Like there's one group. I think and the fucked up part is this is owned by a former special forces soldier.
Right.
He was Army. I think he was Special Forces. I think he was Ranger. But he made this group to teach people how to defend for themselves and how to live off grid in case some shit hits the fan.
Right.
Which every day it's looking more and more like it is. And I don't know if it was the FBI. I think it was. They went and was like, oh hey, we're gonna slap a domestic terrorist fucking label on you.
Yeah.
And
See,
I'm
and
like,
that's
huh?
the thing, is they're picky about what they're gonna go after or not. Like, I remember when Trump became president, there were threats coming from people in every which way direction. You'd see all over Facebook. I don't want to say this because as Apollo says on Twitch, you'll get your very own NSA analyst, but I'm saying this for the sake of the discussion, that there was everywhere on Facebook, you were seeing people calling for the assassination of Trump. And I know that just saying that is going to trigger some sort of red flag in an NSA office somewhere. I know that's, whatever, they can come listen.
Because we all know they're listening.
Like I'm being secret. I'm here broadcasting on Twitch. It's not like I'm being secret in my conversations. But,
right.
This was everywhere. And I think I only heard of maybe 2 people actually getting in trouble for it. And one of them was actually very, very close to my hometown. He was a guy who was, I want to say, an exchange student from some Middle Eastern country, and he was a student at the local airport to become a pilot. That's really what you want to hear, is a Middle Eastern learning to become a pilot talking about assassinating the president. And that's why they took his case so seriously. Another one was some college student, I want to say, like in Detroit or something like that. I don't know. But you saw this absolutely everywhere on social media, and they didn't go after these people because they want people to think that way. They wanted people to be completely against Trump. They wanted him to be against the establishment. Just, you know what? Who cares? Orange man bad, whatever. You can dislike his politics all you want. But to publicly call for an assassination of a president, doesn't matter who you are, is absolutely terrifying. That is terrifying in every single way. And I called people.
But anybody who said anything negative about Biden on Facebook took that shit down right quick. They were like, don't you say bad things.
You say anything bad about the administration now or anybody associated with it, you get a Facebook ban. I posted a picture of Hunter Biden. Biden standing next to a little girl. That's all it was. Hunter Biden standing next to a little girl, and I got a 30-day ban for it. There was no context. There was no quotes. There was no accusations. It was just a picture of him standing next to a child, and I got a 30-day ban. For what?
I got banned for 2 weeks off of Xbox without live because I made a political statement about Joe Biden, saying that the Democrats need to stop the division, and I got banned without live. They took away my whole thing with political biasy with just me posting a group post.
Just starting with the first.
Uh-huh.
On Xbox. That's interesting, considering Xbox has lots of games that are based on political biases. That's funny. See, that just shows you the hypocrisy right then and there. Anyways, welcome to the show. You're a new face around here. If you want to go ahead and let us know who you are, we're glad to have you. Please stop doing that, son.
My name's Dylan. I just chill out, and what's up, everybody? Just taking it easy. I didn't know what to do. I was just kind of coming in and just kind of taking it easy.
We're more than happy to have you here. The more people we can get involved, the better I think it is. We're glad that you can make it. I know you were saying, last week that you were hoping you could make it, and I'm really glad that you did. So as you know me, I'm Nikki. The beautiful other lady here that's Sixer. We're gonna go ahead and call her Sixer because she's got your back.
Oh, I thought we. God damn it! I thought she was talking about me.
And then we also have JB over here, who is our resident giggler, as we like to
joint
call
boy.
him. And then we have
Awesome.
our little mascot over here who just cannot leave my side no matter what. Doesn't he look like Charlie from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? He does.
Who, me?
From Willy Wonka. No, my son. He looks like Charlie from Willy Wonka.
You know, Charlie Bucket grew up to be Norman Bates, right?
Yeah. No, not the Charlie from the Johnny Depp movie. The Charlie from the original Willy Wonka.
The old one? Okay.
Doesn't he with his little haircut? He does. He looks like Charlie. All right, dude, go play.
Gotta find that golden ticket.
Remember, if you play, if you go play.
They're just, I don't know, man. It just seems like, I mean, I can totally remember, like, it, almost like a fucking convergence point, you know? Like a political, sociological convergence point.
Yeah.
And I seen it start to happen in, like, the beginning of 2019. But I think as soon as fucking COVID happened, and everybody was at home, everybody was just glued to their fucking screens. Fox News and CNN were being fucking idiots about it, saying, oh, you can da-da-da-da-da. I've had COVID. I smoke a pack a day of cigarettes.
I apologize. He wants attention
And,
right now.
and I'm going to say this. The shit wasn't that bad. It kicked my fucking ass a little bit. Yeah, a little high fever. But other than that, little puking my guts out. It was like having a really bad flu.
No, I honestly, I don't think that the COVID virus itself was made up. Obviously, there was something affecting people. There obviously was. What I think they did was that they took the seriousness of everything about it and blew it up. Now, did there people that passed away from it? Absolutely. I'm not saying that people didn't, but I do think that when people are constantly living in a state of fear, their immune systems are automatically going to drop. That's going to happen. It's the same thing when you hypochondriacs are able to manifest symptoms of whatever they think they have just because they're constantly thinking about that they have these symptoms that they really didn't have to begin with. You know, I think a lot of it had something to do with that. And I'm not saying that people who passed away or lost loved ones, you know, they died because of a psychological thing, but I think to some extent that they did. I really do, you know, and I think the constant pushing, you saw, it didn't matter where you were going, everything revolved around COVID. You couldn't go to the restaurants, you couldn't go to the stores. They were asking you to one pack of toilet paper at a time, but at the same time they were also saying, please try to limit how many people go out and go buy shit for your neighbors at the same time. I'm sorry, you want me to buy a pack of toilet paper for 5 different houses? Like, what do you want from me here?
And that COVID or cabin fever being an understatement.
Oh, cabin fever is awful. Like, I don't get out as much as it is anyway. But to be stuck with the kids at home because homeschooling a T-care, that's right before kindergarten, in case a lot of people don't realize, dealing with that, and my son, he's a very active child, so trying to get him to stay in a seat in front of a computer and not try to change the screen to video games and not turn upside down in his seat and be like, okay, I'm bored, I'm gonna go draw on the walls now. Like, at least at school, he has that peer pressure. The other students are listening, I'm going to do that too. You know, he doesn't have that here. He's comfortable here. This is where he is comfortable. He wants to play. He wants to just relax. He wasn't doing that at all. You know, and that made it very difficult for me. And I was also going through recovery from an injury. It was awful. It was just, I don't, you know, honestly, if there's another pandemic, I really hope I manifest those symptoms and I die. I'm let me go. Just let me go.
Fuck it. We'll just go to Mars. Fuck it.
You know what? Send me. Just put me in you know, just incinerate me and send me off.
Like alien disease.
Pretty much.
Alien flu.
Pretty much.
She's not gonna have a fucking xenomorph just pop out of her chest.
No, okay, but the media got to some people so much. Like on Twitch here, we have Marine of Death over here, who's a good buddy of ours, is saying that they always wanted you to wear a mask everywhere you go. Here we are. The world is back open again. Kids are in school not wearing masks anymore. Yet you still look over, and in the car next to you is a guy by himself with a full mask on and a shield, and you're like, bro, what are you afraid of? What are you scared of?
He looks at you, pulls the mask on, put your mask on.
Like you wear it barely under here, and they're like, you're gonna infect me. Like, What about all the other people? Are you
Eat
going after
my
them?
ass.
He's okay. Max, please, you're being loud.
Nah, man. So back to what I was saying earlier. Everybody's seen V for Vendetta,
okay.
right? You know the whole premise behind that movie.
Out back.
An oppressive government
Then you go play out back.
made up. Well, in our case, they didn't make it up. Well, they could have made it up in a lab, which was found out that it was made in a lab.
The thing is COVID is a SARS virus, which obviously SARS has been around for a while. We went through that whole SARS pandemic back in what, 2002, 2003, something like that?
Yep.
Back in the day.
Yep.
So it's not like SARS is a new concept. It's not like COVID is just some brand new virus that came out of nowhere or whatever. So the coronavirus itself is not new. You look at bottles of Lysol from 20 years ago and it states that it helps kill the coronavirus. This particular coronavirus 19 is supposedly what's new, and I get it, things mutate, whatever, but obviously we've been living in a COVID world for decades at least.
Yeah.
There's no way that we don't have immunities to it. So to force everybody to completely block off their immune system from receiving certain viruses and bacterias and stuff in order to fend them off, they essentially weakened us. Plus the whole psych part about it. Yes, of course people are going to die. Of course they are.
Yeah.
And then you have people who probably have the virus because, once again, we've already been exposed to it, that are getting the flu. They die. They test. They do have COVID in their system. That must be why. Completely disregarding the fact that they had the flu or bronchitis or pneumonia or anything else that definitely contributed to it. Like I had a friend of mine who passed away of a massive heart attack. Massive heart attack. But she had COVID in her system, so they labeled it COVID. I had a friend.
So they were like, "Oh, it's COVID related."
I had a friend who got hit by a car on the side of the highway and was dragged under the car 50 feet. But he had COVID when he died, so they labeled his death as COVID.
Sheesh.
And they're doing this on purpose, so they heighten the numbers to keep people afraid. Which is now we're cycling back to the topic here. I know I get a little.
V for Vendetta. V for Vendetta.
Pretty much.
Japan's
the same shit.
You know,
Japan's.
And no, V for Vendetta is actually pretty accurate because you have this anonymous person.
Fucking the same damn thing.
If you were to take the anonymous figure right now, who would that be? Labeled a conspiracy theorist. I'll give you I'll give you a hint. It's a single letter. Q.
Oh yeah, QAnon. Yeah, them.
But it's really funny because whoever this Q person is, or people, organization, who knows, you know, they've put a lot of things out there that a couple years later happens to be true. And not just happens to kind of be true, but happens to be true. Yes, these things happen on the dates they said they would. It's like, it almost kind of makes you wonder, like, okay, we already know that certain things are by design, but how much to the T by design are they?
Yeah.
That someone's able to forecast this stuff years in advance to the day.
You know, God, fuck. I don't know. I mean, everybody's age group, everybody was born late 80s, I want to assume. So we all remember the 90s?
Most of us, yeah.
God.
Nintendo 64.
Well, you're a baby.
Super NES.
Aren't you really young, Dylan?
I'm 26. I'm 26, so I'm like,
okay,
I'm young.
So you're not too much younger than us. You still remember the 90s a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Like, there was so much. I mean,
Apollo's project, that's because you're an old man and we love you anyway.
I mean, you got all this shit that, nobody was tripping on fucking germs and shit, man. Like, I remember having like the 5-second rule and
that's because the 90s. That's because the 90s was all about the AIDS fear mongering. You didn't have to worry unless you were a gay black man in the streets of Hollywood. As long as you weren't having black homosexual sex, you were fine. That was a race war, the AIDS thing, but it was still had to do with a virus. It's always
does everybody
something.
just? Do we feel like it's just jumped from COVID to this new one that they have? I just think like the government's just
the monkeypox.
The monkeypox.
Yeah.
Because what was it a couple years ago? The bird flu and then the swine flu, and
swine flu.
I mean, I'm pretty sure there's been like python flu and dirty feet flu and mad cow disease. I mean, we've just got all these animal flus going on.
I had flu once. That stuff wasn't as bad. It was like having a flu.
But I mean, like,
monkeys aren't gaining traction. No, what's funny
It'll be the killer bee flu.
I think this whole monkeypox pandemic happened way too quickly after COVID that people were just like, no, we're not buying your shit anymore. Like, okay, what is this? The movie Outbreak with a monkey? We're all gonna get Ebola now? Wasn't it? Ebola was what?
Give me David Hoffman.
Before COVID hit. Like, come on.
Give me Dustin Hoffman. Where's that fucker?
Dustin Hoffman, right?
Where the fuck is Dustin Hoffman at? Where the fuck is fucking Cuba Gooding Jr.?
Massive virus that's just gonna wipe out the population, and you know what? With how stupid the population is becoming, I say just let it fucking happen. Let it happen.
Honestly, I've seen this shit happening.
Right. Let them think.
I think I felt this country get more stupid and like just I don't know, like the now. Okay, I'm not talking shit, but I gotta get this off my chest. We're sitting here, they're stripping shit away. First is our freedom of speech and our just a freedom of speech, freedom to assembly, and they even did freedom of religion. They even canceled church. It took the First Amendment, they went, your shit's revoked. That should have been wake up call number. That was wake up call one for a lot of us veterans. A lot.
Yep.
And I'm not going to say who. I'm not going to say what groups. But let's just say there is enough of us where we are watching everything. Like, since the fucking outbreak, since the fall of fucking Afghanistan, since the fucking recent, here, let me pull that up too. And since this brand new shit with fucking HR 1808, the assault weapons ban.
Yep.
Now they're going after two.
Didn't they find it unconstitutional? Didn't the Supreme Court find it unconstitutional? I thought that they ruled on that like shortly after you said it, and they found it unconstitutional, or they left it up to the states or something like they knocked it down back to the states. I want to say. I might be thinking of something else.
I think they said it's still pending.
It's still pending.
I might be thinking of something. There's so much going on. There's so many different laws that include overlapping topics that make everything so confusing. And they do that on purpose.
How they do it, yeah?
They do it on purpose.
Okay, so in this fucking bill, there's a part where it says that you cannot take apart, like you cannot disassemble and reassemble your weapon without a fucking FFL license.
Oh yeah, because it's considered a manufacture process because you're putting it together, you're assembling it. Even though you have to take it apart to clean it in order to properly function the weapon. Yeah, it's stupid.
Exactly. And I looked at that, I'm like, and this shit is going so so it's going to be banning everything from, and everybody's like, oh, assault weapons. They're thinking M4s, AR-15s. Nah, they're thinking we're going to take your semi-automatic shotguns. We're going to take your semi-automatic pistols.
Shotguns are not included. Shotguns were not included. It was pretty much everything but shotguns. But it includes pistols as well. As long as you can disassemble it, revolvers are not included because you don't take it apart. It just kind of slips out in order for you to put the bullets in. But anything that has a detachable magazine or a clip, and anything that you can detach that you have to disassemble in order to clean. So anything that has a bolt that can be removed easily. Yeah.
So I'm just sitting here thinking, if they really fucking do this, hopefully there's a smart senator or House fucking representative that, there's a few good ones left. You know what I mean? Like, people that are still remember what this country was founded on. Which was personal.
Today. I'm wearing my We the People shirt. I got it going. I came prepared today.
we as Americans, I mean, if your family's been here since before the American Revolution and fought in it,
No, actually,
then
one of my grandparents' families was. The rest were not.
If your family immigrated and fought in any American conflict, I just think that, like, I remember going into that room at MEPS, raising my right hand, taking that oath. I hold that shit. I hold that shit in close.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing what they're doing to my Constitution. To something my forefathers, my literal forefathers, got up and were willing to fight the entire Royal British Army.
Yeah.
And say, fuck you, King George, we're going to do it our way. To see this old senile puppet being puppeteered by these group of just extreme fucking police, what state, fucking nobody's going to have rights. You're like, goddamn, if we wanted to live in fucking Stalin's Russia, we would have just fucking adopted communism.
They're trying to. They're trying to get into that by going through socialism. They're trying to start off. Yeah. They're trying to start off with social welfare. Everybody give to everybody, which moves us into established economic socialism, which will move into regular socialism. Which, if you keep going down that path, you're gonna end up in communism. And this is where George Orwell had it right with 1984 and Animal Farm. He called this stuff, and everybody's just ignoring it. And guess which two books are no longer on the reading list for most high schools? Those two. They don't want people to think for themselves at all.
Well, because apparently, if you have your own opinion, you're considered a white nationalist. You're apparently a bigot.
Extremist.
Yeah, extremist. And I've talked to a lot of people because I tell people I have different views and stuff, and I hang out with diverse people of it. The people that are far left wing don't really have a problem with me, and they say, "Well, you're not really extremist." And I would make fun of it because if you don't agree with them, you're a Nazi. So I would joke with them because everything's a Hydra agent at this point. I'll say "Hail Hydra" just to mess with them, and people think I'm being as serious about it. It's like it's a joke because there is no Hydra more than anything else. It's just I don't know. It's just crazy.
People are. It's like, okay, it's something that I learned growing up. A lot of us, I guess, parents forgot to teach their children that. Look at the entire situation with context before you make an emotional fucking thing, because these kids now are just acting off of pure emotion. And there's no thought into it, and they're just literally.
But there's nothing out there that's promoting the idea of thinking for yourself at all. You have the media who people are putting, these people are getting paid by government or government officials under the table, whatever, making
or lobbyists,
And now you have the trickle down where these CEOs of these media companies are saying, screw unbiased journalism so people can make their own decisions. Let's feed them what
we're just
going
to make shit up.
Well, let's feed them what we want them to hear. And because it's coming from the news, it must be true. And you have nobody out there that's giving unbiased, just straight fact journalism. It's just not happening anymore. And so you don't have people that are like, okay, well, I heard this over here and I heard this over here, and now I'm going to smash them together and come up with my own conclusion, because they turn on CNN and they're hearing a very left-wing version of things, but then you turn on Fox and you're hearing a slightly more right-leaning, I even want to say that even Fox News is starting to be a little bit more centralist than they've been in the past. You don't really have a whole lot of right-leaning left, media anymore. And the right-leaning media that you do hear of, like Newsmax or OANN or whatever the fuck it's called, or conservative voices like Alex Jones or Joe Rogan, or all these people that, do have conservative voices, they're all being shut down.
Yeah.
They're all being shut down because the people who are in charge of who can shut them down are all being paid off by people who need their voices heard.
Like that, like this one guy that I don't. He used to be on TikTok. Now, I looked some of it up, and I think it's a little fucked up what happened. So, is everybody familiar with who the fuck Andrew Tate is?
Yes.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Did you know that they canceled him so hard that his partners, whatever, like, okay, so you know how like Twitch works? Kind of had it explained to me. So if you're an affiliate or partner, you'll you'll make so much money from each stream, but you're only allowed to pull from it like once or twice a month.
Mm-hmm.
So he had that like creator count. They froze all his shit.
See, that's so
Froze
like
everything.
if people are paying
Because
you and they're paying for your content with bits or subscriptions, that's so stupid. That I think that's the dumbest thing ever. Like
because he decided,
doing these podcasts and especially talking about the government like we are this time, a lot of the times we don't. You know, Dylan, a lot of the times we talk about, you know, our life in the military or our life after the military or, you know, different things like that. A lot of the stuff is who cares what we talk about. Now that we're talking about something like this, we are running the risk of having all of this just shut down.
Right, and then people being investigated because they're going to label, including me, just for being here and just listening and agreeing, but not, you know, calling for action, not doing anything. They're going to label like I'm kind of scared of what this country is turning into a little bit of it, because it's like deeming me, even though I didn't do anything, even though you are just expressing your opinion, they're deeming us like as a threat for just having an opinion.
Right,
And
no,
that's like
you're right, and the thing is that I've tried to reach out to more of my left-leaning friends. I mean, I'm the first person to let you know that I'm more right-leaning. I do have a lot of centralist views on a lot of things. You know, when it comes to weed, I am very, you know, smoke weed, have fun with it, do whatever you want. It's not going to kill you, you know.
Yeah.
When it comes to women's rights, you know, I don't think that birth control should be used as birth control. I don't think that abortion should be used as a form of birth control. I think that you have a moral responsibility to make sure that you're not getting to that point that you need one. Now, in the sense of incest or rape or something, you know, the mother's life is at risk early on in the pregnancy, whatever. I think something like that, then yes, absolutely. You know, you don't want a bunch of mutated DNA because uncle couldn't keep his hands off his niece, you know, running around. You don't want something like that. You obviously don't want people who can't control themselves and rape somebody. You don't want that DNA running around either. You know, I think in certain circumstances, I think to a point, everything is acceptable in certain circumstances. You know, and then it's the same thing when it comes to murder. Do I think you should just walk up to somebody on the street and shoot them? No. But I do believe that capital punishment is a good thing. If you brutally murder somebody, you have every single chance. I think that you risk the chance, and if the state deems you worthy to die, then, oh well, you made your bed, you know. You took the life away from somebody else. Well, guess what? Karma happens. What goes around comes around. In that case, absolutely. You know?
I just don't.
And I'm a fan of guns.
I do not like Dylan said, I do not like where this is going.
Who, me?
Wait. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah, there where you said you didn't like where this country was heading.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought you were like. I thought you. I was.
No.
I thought you said you didn't like. I was like, kind of looking. I was going. I was just like confused for a second. I was like, wait, what?
I may act stupid, but I got a pretty good memory still. No, but you know, just, and I mean, like, okay, I mean, and me, I'm an Army vet. Was 2008 to 2010. Got deployed, went to Afghanistan, had a blast, fun times. Hated the fact of what I saw on the TV, like that when the fall was happening and ISIS and Taliban were just, I think it was mostly Taliban were just coming back down. You just seen the map going from green to red again. That damn near broke me. Look at that. That brought back a lot pain. and I'm seeing because see, I never voted for Biden. I I figured, you know what? It's better the devil I know than the devil I don't. And we knew Trump pretty well, and sure the guy was a little bit of a fucking loony. Sure, he said some out of pocket shit.
I would rather
But
have
did he
somebody who
fuck with our
openly
personal freedoms?
I would rather have somebody in office that openly hurts your feelings than does shit behind your back that trickles down and affects your daily life without you ever fucking knowing it. And that's exactly what's happening. You tell me that this raid on Mar-a-Lago, that the FBI went in looking for paperwork, yet they ransacked freaking Barron's room, yet this whole time everybody's known about Hunter's laptop and the ties to Ukraine and everything that's on it, yet nobody's even questioned it? No, that don't sit with me. That does not sit with me. I get it. You want to raid Trump? Go ahead, raid Trump, but make sure that your justice is reaching all around the table. You can't just go one way and expect that the other, that everybody's receiving the same justice, because they're not. They're not. The left does not seem to be held accountable for anything.
You know what? And that's so true. They don't teach that equality of stuff of like treat others how you want to be treated, because it's more of a double standard of everything. And I've seen that with so much socially, just seeing that around. Like they'll bully something, they'll say, no, don't do that. And they'll just kind of like act like they'll tease it down. But if it was somebody with a different political view or a certain agenda, they'll bully that, person to submission of it, because it's the mindset of it. You know what I mean? It's a double standard. And it's just, that kind of just ticks me off. You know what I mean? It's sad, but it's just,
I think it's fucking horrible, dude. It's horrible.
It is horrible.
I'm just waiting for that day, because Nikki was a Marine, and I've actually talked to a couple active duty service, Marines, and we've actually talked about this, about how they're stripping everything away, and we've all kind of agreed that if you're taking the ability to arm ourselves away, you have just become a tyrannical government.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing is that I do believe that a lot of the government right now is being very tyrannical, and a lot of people are noticing it, which is why January 6th happened. People are trying to stand up to it, and people who didn't even go near the Capitol building but just happened to be in D.C. that day, that were caught on camera somewhere, are being hunted down by the FBI as if they did something wrong, when they literally did nothing but their First Amendment right. They're protesting. That's what they were there for. They were protesting to sit there and be like, no, this doesn't act right. Congress do something about it. And now they're being hunted down. For what? They did nothing wrong. They did nothing wrong. They literally went to go visit their capital and stand outside with the flag going, we love our country, pay attention to us, which is within our rights to do, and now they're being thrown in jail. Now, I kind of can understand the people who breached into the Capitol building and went into offices. That I can understand. But the people
or if
who
you're
went
up on the wall.
The people who went into the house and went to the stage and just kind of stood there raising their arms like the guy with the horns, that became like a big picture of that whole scenario. I mean, he didn't go through anything. He didn't go through anything classified. I mean, the only difference between that and us watching on C-SPAN was that he was physically there. There should be nothing going on in that chamber that we shouldn't have access to. So I think that his sentence is a little harsh for what happened for him anyway. He didn't go.
Honestly, though,
I mean, I don't think he did.
I mean, they say they forced their way in, but I'm like, it's a government building. It should be open to the public.
Now, I definitely understand keeping certain things, under lock and key for national security. When it comes to, when it comes to military operations or potential military operations, stuff like that, if the U.S. gets a credible threat from somewhere, obviously you're not just going to go boast that all over the country, because you're going to cause a mass hysteria. I understand certain things being kept from the public, but being able to protest and walk into Congress and be like, no, you guys are fucking up. My Constitution allows me to say this to you, and then be thrown in jail for it. I don't think so. I think that is exactly the exact proof of the tyranny that they're trying to expose.
And you know what they were also trying to do? That's a good one, because they were also, and I'm trying to get my memory of that last 2 years of that 2020 that happened there. Didn't they also, with what was it, Nancy Pelosi, also provoking people to kind of do it, like in a way, like saying, like kind of like ripping up the paper in front of people to cause a political division?
Absolutely.
But,
She knew that moment that she wrote, the moment that she ripped up that what was it, State of the Union address or whatever it was, the moment she ripped it up, she knew for a fact it would rile people up.
Exactly.
She was stirring the pot so much that day. And of course she won't be held responsible because she has freedom of speech. Whatever.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You swore an oath. You get paid to not have those rights.
I just think it's fucked up, man, because honestly, I think Trump wasn't in their plans. He
wasn't.
He wasn't. They threw the wrench in, like, since the day one of his administration, they were just trying. They were just.
And that the reason why, because you had Hillary Clinton, you had other people in
the
office.
Bitch that fucking started Benghazi.
Trump was a billionaire already. You don't think that he was a lobbyist in his own accord? You don't think that he got to know these people as being the one who lined their pockets? He already knew the way they work. And the moment he said, you know what, I'm tired of your corruption in the swamp or whatever, the swamp, they all knew he's got secrets that he could expose. We want him gone. He knows us already. There's plenty of pictures of him with the Clintons. That they never had a problem with him until he ran for presidency. Not one problem from him, about him, until he said, I'm running for presidency. And then he went on and called them all swamp creatures. So, I mean, I get maybe is that why they are so heated? Because he came in saying you're all trash? Wow, you're in politics. If you can't handle that, then what are you doing here? You're literally dealing with other countries that can literally blow you up. And you're worried about what this guy calling you a swamp creature? Like, because
they're not in this. They're not
proud to be a swamp creature.
It just lets you know that it's not about them calling. It's not about him calling them creatures of the swamp. It's not about that. They knew that he was a threat to whatever they were hiding, and they wanted to silence him as quickly as possible. But because they weren't.
He wasn't in that circle. Because he wasn't in the circle of that game. That's what it was.
Well, he was as a lobbyist. And then when he came in and was like, I'm tired of all of this. And this even includes like Epstein Island and all of that. He used to be friends with Epstein. And he publicly denounced Epstein years and years and years before Epstein was even a household name. He tends to be into the younger generation, and that's not my thing. He said that publicly. Yet people still try to say that because he used to be friends with him, that he was in on it. Like, no, you can go back and see this. Like, he publicly said it. He said it out loud to the public that he seemed to be into the younger girls, and that's not his thing. He said that. So I think with him saying that, and then the whole Epstein thing coming in, and him having these secrets from people, they tried to shut him up as much as possible. But Trump is not stupid. He didn't get to where he was off of that $1 million loan from his dad by being stupid. He knew he had secrets, which is probably why he was able to finish out his entire first term. I have your secrets. Back off just enough or I will expose them. And there's obviously enough people in this country that will believe it and will run with it. You want you want a civil war? That's how you get a civil war. So he knew to keep his mouth shut, but he also knew that it would keep them in line. It's all a chess game. And DC politics is all chess, and he played the game.
They got mad he was winning.
They got mad that he actually had a following, and if he had too much exposure and too much of a say, there's a reason why he got impeached twice. But they didn't convict him because they knew that if... I don't think that his non-conviction was because of whatever they voted on. I think they were, you're not going to convict him. If he does, he'll talk. And you know that he would have because... He may have been off Twitter by then, but it's not like he couldn't get a word out. There was plenty of other platforms to get his word out if he really, really wanted.
Oh, yeah.
Too many
Oh yeah,
other people are on his side.
He actually banned him from Twitter, huh?
Completely. They completely took his
Oh
account
my
off
God.
of Twitter.
Politically, just biasy.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
dude.
and this, it even goes to show that even at the very tippy top of the ladder here, they're still playing these manipulative games. They did it with the entire Trump presidency, his entire campaign. They did it with him. They did it with Pence. Look at Pence. Why is he the only person on Trump's administration that has not been investigated? Tell me that.
Oh,
his
fuck.
own VP, his own vice president is the only one in his entire cabinet that has not been investigated.
That's true. I haven't heard shit about Pence.
Well, you're not going to, because he's in the game. He's played that game. He's on that side. He just runs as a Republican. You know that they do that. And even Trump said back in like the late 90s, early 2000s that if he were to ever run for presidency, he would run as a Republican because he knows that that's what would cause the biggest scene. That generally he tends to be more Democratic. He tends to be more, liberal. But when it comes to actually getting shit done, he would run as a Republican because, it's smarter. As a capitalist, it's smarter. He's not stupid. Yeah.
I just honestly wish and hope that we don't get to this level where it's going to be, because I'm going to be honest, if this shit gets to where I think it goes, and I don't want to say where it goes, but if it does, Lord have mercy. Looks like we're shooting the fuck back up.
Yep.
And
it's crazy,
It's fucking insane, dude. Like, I'm just they've already went after the First Amendment. They've already got that pretty fucking well packaged and figured out how to manipulate that. We can't allow them to start this fucking second.
Hey, Cujo, welcome to the show. I see you pop in there. Welcome. It's been a minute. Thanks for joining us.
I'm just trying to get back on the government watch list.
Hell well, yeah, brother.
I've already set enough probably red flags that NSA's watching right now.
Love you, NSA.
I mean, I honestly don't care about the NSA or any of this stuff. I don't call to violence. Like, my whole thing as me, I'm just trying to start my own security company and guard stores, guard hospitals, children's schools, places that need it. Because I just see this 10 layer of shit, and it just, places that you need to get the, and it's insane, People need guarding.
We've only got 2 more years of fuck ton fucking can't walk up a flight of stairs, Joe Biden. And I'm just hoping, oh God, I hope this isn't the
Speaking
of the freight.
Speaking of that, when I sidetrack for just a second, after I got in my accident and I had a cast on my leg, I had a bright red cast. Well, my daughter decided to draw on it. She drew a stick figure walking upstairs saying, "I walk better in this than Biden does upstairs." And I fucking died.
Wow.
And I had a cast on. I couldn't walk at all. All right, continue on. Had to throw that in there just because it was funny.
I love that kid. I love that kid.
Funny. She's so funny.
I was just like, everybody can understand that guy, that he's not the one making decisions. Have you seen him when they don't have a script in front of him on a teleprompter? He spits out more gibberish than Grandpa Simpson.
My favorite is when he says that he likes little kids swimming in the pool and they touch his leg hair. Whatever.
Dog, you spent too much time with fucking Jeffrey Epstein. Chill the fuck out.
Like, just that quote alone, if that had come out of Trump's mouth, that would have been a heyday. That would have been the only news you ever heard of. If Trump had said that. What?
The only thing he ever had in his hands was Stormy Daniels, but I didn't give a fuck about that. That wasn't the only
thing, supposedly.
I'm like, so Trump banged a porn star. Good for him. Who gives a fuck?
I just think it's funny.
I'm sorry, but when you mentioned about Biden without a teleprompter, and I'm trying to talk a little bit quieter because I got kids asleep, but I like to equate it that he's trying to quote what he reads in the alphabet soup that gets put in front of him whenever he's doesn't have a teleprompter.
Well, have you noticed that when he does have a teleprompter, he reads everything, including the stuff he's not supposed to read?
End of quote. Repeat line.
He does. Like, he sat there and he read something and he was like, okay, well, this concludes whatever. Thank you. God bless. Happy American Day, whatever. Leave stage now. Like, okay, dude. Like, you are losing it.
They have
we got more of a problem than just Biden, or it doesn't matter whether you're for Biden or against him, whether you're for Trump or against him. We got a massive problem of the bureaucrats up in Congress that want to stay there forever. It doesn't matter whether they're Republican or Democrat. The fact of the matter is they make a lifelong career out of it and do everything they can to make sure that they stay in power. And it creates such a divisiveness in the country that it's created this mentality on everyone that you're either for me or against me. And there is no compromise, there is no debate. And it's just straight up what led us to where we are now. And that's why both sides, I would argue, it's a choice between taking cyanide or arsenic. You're going to die either way.
Right.
You're just getting to pick your poison. And we need to get. The biggest hope that I have for the country is that this convention of states gets together and adopts a resolution somehow to put term limits on Congress. You get term limits on Congress, you get these 30, 40, 50, 60-year politicians on both sides of the aisle out and actually get people that are more in line with the actual people of the country, the way it was always intended.
Well, society changes from generation to generation. You can't just keep going the same way and expect things to go when people are changing. Like, society is changing. Time,
you have these people that are trying to stay relevant with the so-called current generations and appeal to the so-called current generations, and all they're appealing to are the loudest people on either side of the aisle, thinking that they represent the majority when in fact they represent the minority of the people.
Right.
Well, a perfect example of that is all your rhinos. You have these people that are, I'm running as a Republican, blah, 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 but everything they voted on has shown that they're definitely not. McCain was one of them. Rest in peace to him. But that guy was probably the poster child of rhinos. And
but
it really
at the same time, you're kind of proving my point there.
No, that's what I'm agreeing with you.
No, and yeah. And it's that mentality that we gotta get out of. Nothing is going to improve until we realize it may not be everything that the Republicans do. I might not agree with. Everything the Democrats do, I might not agree with. But if I take a little bit of A and a little bit of B, why can't that be palatable?
Yeah.
Well, that's where the libertarians come in.
Yeah. You know what? It's there because we turn into a generation where we're all right fighters. We all want to be right, and there's no compromise to anything. With me, I despise this woke culture and stuff, and like whatever they say with pretty much saying my skin color and my who I am. I'm a Christian American male. I'm the bad guy. I kind of get tired of it. I just don't see why that we can't just come together, even if you're independent, even if you're Republican or Democrat. Why can we not just come together and get this issue done together with it? You know what I'm saying?
Because then they lose power that way.
Exactly. And then that's what they're trying to silence with the whole thing. That's what bothers me with everything. It's kind of aggravating, It's just.
I hear you.
I hear you.
And it's true because you have kids like my son. He's 6 years old. Yet he can be on the playground with his friends, and these friends are all bullying each other because they're 6 and that's what they do. But at the end of the day, they sit down. I'm sorry I took your toy. It's okay. You can play with it. They're 6 years old and they're able to settle their differences very quickly and easily. Why? Because they haven't been filled with this idea that, power is everything.
skin color and separation and all this tension.
No, his best friend at his first best friend at school was a little black girl, and they were just the cutest little friends ever. I thought they were so cute.
Nothing wrong with.
Well, you also still see that.
See, look,
Well, you used to see
he's a
that
capitalist.
in
He's
the
got his
service
own
too.
money.
Oh yeah.
Big baller.
You are.
You
Filthy.
used to
Are
see
you
that kind
filthy?
of camaraderie in the service too, where if two
We're
people
almost
had a
done.
disagreement, you lock them in the fan room and let them beat the shit out of each other for a few minutes, and then they come out,
Okay,
shake
move it
hands,
back.
move on with their
Honey,
life.
Pick it up, please. We're almost done.
The fucking fan room. I got that explained to me.
All right, you're breaking
The
stuff.
fan room's used for many things. Many
Well, yes,
things.
and I will not
Many.
comment further upon that because
Hey.
I can neither confirm nor deny. But we used to, I mean, you settle your differences. You settle your differences and you move on with life. And we don't do that nowadays. Now it's all, let's all change ourselves to suit the people around us instead of everyone is their own person. Well, it's like I was telling someone earlier. Your happiness is not my responsibility unless I choose to make it my responsibility. So this average person walking down the street who demands that I change my language or demands that I change how I look so that way I'm more inclusive or whatever, well, they can suck my dick.
But it's not about you realizing that their happiness isn't your responsibility. It's about them realizing that their happiness isn't your, like, we are not here to make other people happy. And if you want to be happy, make your fucking self happy, you know? Like,
You're right.
you
You're
can't
right.
depend on other people for that.
And there's the other side of the coin. The other side of the coin being that whether those people realize it or not, we, those of us who have a brain,
Right.
not only have to realize that we're not responsible for their happiness, but we have to stand our own damn ground and not give in every time somebody else gets mad.
Yeah.
Somebody walks
Yeah.
up to me, I don't like the way you're talking to me. Well, so what?
Well,
Oh,
and
well.
that's the thing is people can get mad over anything nowadays. Like I watched this video and this guy, he's dressed in a sombrero and a Mexican knit poncho and he's got a fake mustache on, right? And he walks around and he asks all these American kids like, "Does my outfit offend you?" And they're like, "Well, are you Mexican? Do you have Mexican heritage?" And he's like, "No." And they're like, "Yeah, it's really offensive. You should take that off." And like they get aggressive with this guy. And then he goes down to like Little Mexico or whatever part of the city it was. And he's asking these people who are having like a full on fiesta. And he's like, do you like my outfit? And they're like, "You look really good." And he's like, "Do I offend you?" And they're like, "No, bud, you look good. You should wear this every day." Like, they are like, "Yeah, embrace my culture, you know?" But like Americans, we see somebody embracing somebody else's culture and we have to have an opinion on it. Like, "Oh, that's so offensive to me." But you're not even, that's not your culture. Why are you offended? Like,
Yeah. Social justice warriors. Those
Yeah.
are
I
my
don't-
favorite.
I don't want-
because
I don't want to say
I
it.
spent
don't-
2 years
Do
in
not
Japan.
do not get me started today on being mad at people who are offended by everything
I don't want
or
to say it.
negative about everything. Today is
I
not
really
Yeah.
don't want to say it.
well,
Those
Cujo
of
just
us who have
mentioned
served
those of us with
overseas.
brains in our heads, and I was going to say, I don't know if I fit into that category.
Oh, shut up. Yes, you do.
Well,
After
let me put it this
today.
way. Anybody in the military, anybody that's actually served overseas knows that it's not cultural appropriation. It's called showing respect for one another's culture.
Exactly.
I mean,
every
there's
time I've been in a
definitely a
foreign country-
respectful way to do it. Yes. But
Every
there's
time
also
I've been in a
definitely a
foreign country and
disrespectful
I've
way
tried to
do it.
respect their ways and I've tried to adapt to their ways, it's not cultural appropriation. They
Well,
get
I mean,
excited.
like the example that Sixer just used about dressing up looking like a typical, ranchero or something and going down to Little Mexico and asking if they're offended and them not being, obviously there's some very stereotypical looking costume ideas out there that are appropriation, whatever, that are still not necessarily offensive because at some point that was
Right.
obviously a style enough to become a stereotype.
But you can't go to Spirit Halloween store and get that outfit anymore because it would be offensive. You can't go to Spirit Halloween store and buy an afro because it's like cultural appropriation. Like, it's a Halloween costume. Like, isn't that what we do? We pretend to be something else. Like,
Now, I
it's
think it
not
would
that
be
I'm being
disrespectful if you were to
offensive.
dress in like a Swahili outfit and run around pretending like you're a monkey. That would be disrespectful as fuck.
Yes, but see, at the same point, at the end of that video, there was an actual African guy in the whole the whole I can't remember what it's called right now, but he
The
had the
garb,
little hat and
the whole
yeah,
garb, yeah.
yeah, and he was like, if you came to my country and started wearing these clothes, I would think you're embracing my culture. I wouldn't think you're trying to offend me. Like that's you're not now if you took that outfit back to America, then all these Americans are going to
See,
be like, why are you doing that? Like,
see, this is the difference between the left and the right, though, because if you were to ask somebody on the right, if you were to ask a conservative about somebody from another country coming over here, I want to say we, and I'm generalizing, more right wing people. If you come here, you need to assimilate. You need to understand that dressing in a drindle, if you're from Germany, is not exactly the social norm. I mean, I don't want to say that it's the social norm in Germany anymore. Maybe 50 years ago it was, but it's not the social norm to wear traditional clothing around here from your own country. It's just not.
right,
So we ask you to assimilate. We ask you to learn the local language. But when we go do that in another country, we're culturally appropriating. Or
right.
what is it? Make up your mind. Because it's only the left that's complaining about people doing it in either direction. People coming here, they're trying to assimilate whatever. You have a problem with white women wearing braids or cornrows, but you have no problem with Beyonce with her fake blonde hair.
Mm, exactly.
Fake blonde, straight, shiny, curly, not
It's
curly, but
true.
very
It's
whiteified
true.
hair.
Forgetting the
So
primary
where's
thing.
the outrage there? Because, oh, but she's American. She was born and raised here. That doesn't
But
change
again,
her
assimilated
race. That
her.
doesn't change her ethnicity. She's
Right.
still
again, it's
she's
not
obviously riding the wave of being a very proud black woman, yet she's doing everything she can to look like a white woman. What are you doing? You can't have it both ways. You can't ride both waves. That just ask any
it's
surfer, you
not
can't ride two waves at
about
once.
the subject though. It's really not about the subject. It's about feeling good about yourself because you're standing up for something you feel is right and making a difference in the world. And then these lawmakers can say, look at this minority group, we're doing everything we can to defend them. We're protecting them. Look at these laws. Now come vote for us. So that way we can keep giving them money and everything else. It's none of these politicians give two shits about
Oh
somebody,
hell
whether
no!
they're
It's
white,
all clout.
black.
It's all
Well, I
political
mean, it's
clout.
even the same thing with like the LGBT community or the LGBT community. You have Pride Month, which is what, June?
Yes.
June is
Yep.
Pride Month. Yeah. So you have all these companies that like 2-3 days before June starts, or everything's popping up with rainbows. You have rainbows here, you have rainbows there, you have acceptance just everywhere. But one thing I noticed this year as opposed to last year is that even the LGBTQ community has been very great. Thanks for the support, but we won't see you again until next year. Like they already know that they're doing it for the attention. They're not doing it to actually
Yeah.
help them, because if they were, they'd be doing it year round.
Oh yeah.
They're doing it for the sales, the
Of
money.
course they are. They're doing it. Hey, look at us. We're inclusive.
Buy our
Are
stuff.
you though? Are you? Because the moment that month's over, you completely act as if they don't
Like
even
Skittles.
exist anymore.
No, because if places like Disney and all these auto dealers were actually inclusive, they would do it in all countries equally. But they don't because they know damn good and well if they try to do it in other countries, they would be banned from ever shipping, selling, or doing anything in that country.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
you're right, because it has nothing to do with their actual what they're saying their cause is about.
They just want it for the clout.
100%.
But
That's all it is.
just like with the politicians, these LGBT communities, they're only out. Well, the vast majority of them, the loud ones, and only the loud ones, are just they want attention. That's all it is. And it has bled into the political theater because now they're like, oh, well, look at these loud people that we clearly have a big issue with. Now we're going to try and protect them, and we're going to try and protect their rights, and we're going to teach inclusivity, and we're going to teach sex ed in school from 6 years old on, and it it's letting It's these politicians and these government bodies trying to bleed their ideals into the younger generation as soon as possible, so that way they get more votes their
Yeah,
way.
Yep.
manipulation. You manipulate the masses, bro, to
People.
bend your whatever will you desire. And when time comes to reap upon those votes, you're gonna have a shit ton because you've already brainwashed it and indoctrinated it into their head.
Yeah.
Because
Yep.
again, they want to push that idea of I'm right, you're wrong, and we cannot meet in the middle because I'm right, you're wrong, and if you don't agree with me, you're the enemy. And
This
you
Kind of
sounds so
sounds like
familiar.
military indoctrination, don't it?
know, I mean, if it works, call it what you will. And
Yeah.
the last thing I just want to throw this one last little bug in your ears and get you thinking about this one. What happened during, I would say, World War One, World War Two? Those were. Would you guys agree those were pretty hard times?
Let's say
Yes
yeah.
and no. Yes and no.
In the Depression.
Yes, when it came to the hardship of all of our men leaving our country and all of that, whatever, when it came to back home in the economy, no, we were doing fantastic. It was
No,
in
I'm
between the two wars that
general.
shit went downhill.
in general. In general, World War II was a hard time for both people at home and away, regardless of the economy. I'm talking about on the personnel.
Well, of course, yeah.
Okay, I'm going somewhere with this. Work with me. That was a hard time. So what did it create? It created hard people, right?
Yeah.
So what did those hard people do? Well, they don't want others to go through their trouble, so they made it
It's
an
soft.
easy time.
Yeah.
And what did that easy time do? It made
Create soft people.
Soft people.
Yeah.
Now, what are the soft people doing, which is at this point right now in history?
Making shit
We're
hard
making a
again.
hard time.
Yeah.
It's a cycle. So what you're saying is that hopefully within our lifetime we'll be able to see the hard times turn into easy times.
And then go
I'm
right
saying
back.
that hopefully these hard times now are going to make for hard people to make the right choices. And eventually we will get out of the hard time and back into the easy time, but the cycle will repeat itself.
Like an Aurora Boreas.
Borealis.
You know what? I could have said areola, but I chose not to. What I'm saying though
I
is,
would have
yeah,
said like a donut because I'm a fat ass.
everything is just a cycle. History, time is secular. It constantly rotates. It constantly repeats itself.
And the primary
Oh, the
reason for that
Jeremy
is because
Bearimy.
we erase the history we don't like. And the government has tried to erase the history they don't like. They don't like the Civil War. They don't like the fact it was primarily about states' rights and that slavery and whatnot was used as a cover to justify the attack upon the South because the South separated due to states' rights, states versus government. That was the core of the Civil War. Well, now that's been covered up and obscured in such a way that we've no longer learned from that history. It's
Like,
history is not there for you
I mean,
to.
Well, see, I mean, I was just hearing the story about this kid. I mean, he was probably like maybe early high school or late middle school, and he was a German exchange student. And he came here to school in America, and like the kids, they all had jokes. It was all the Hitler jokes and like the Holocaust jokes and stuff. And for him, for Germany, that's still new. Like you don't make jokes about that shit. So he was just like, whoa, like Americans make jokes about this, and that's part of their history, and they're taught that. Like that's why it's still a sore subject,
Well,
But
because they knew that their history was the history in the wrong. They were the bad
Right.
party, and they're
but they
trying
admit,
to. Yeah, of course they do,
And what
they're
are they
trying
doing
to
with
They're still
it?
healing from
heal
it.
their own wounds from that. They're trying to
right.
recover from that image that Hitler gave all of Germany and Austria, and
But isn't in Germany being a Nazi is illegal now? Like you can't.
Yes.
And then in America, you have what neo Nazis that are,
Nazis, white nationalists,
I mean,
Aryan
it's technically
Brotherhood.
not illegal to be a neo-Nazi, but if you actually do commit crimes under the, I'm doing this because of my neo-Nazi beliefs, then it becomes a hate crime, and then it becomes an
Right.
issue. You know, so you
Well,
can sit there,
let
walk
me
around
let
with
me redirect
swastikas all
that.
over your body, and
It's
nobody's going to say
America.
nothing.
That's your freedom. If you want to be a neo-Nazi as an American, then you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to say what you want to say. And until you're committing a crime, you're not doing anything wrong.
Pretty
But
much.
let me redirect that. My
Yeah.
point is that we've been steadily getting rid of our own history because we as Americans
Right.
didn't like it, or I should say, certain groups of Americans
We were in
didn't
the
like
wrong,
the
though. Like,
history. And what happens when we forget history? We are doomed to
To repeat
repeat
it.
it.
exactly.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. And that's the hard part is where do you recognize the trend? Generally after the fact. Because
Apparently,
now
it's every.
now when it comes to, circling back to I don't mean to circle back now. Please go away.
Circle.
I don't mean to Jen Psaki or whatever her name is circle back, but this comes back down to the vaccine for COVID. You know, at what point do we realize that the government overstepped its role?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, they already have. They're just
A lot of
Well,
people
didn't
believe
they-
that, but then
Supreme Court
you
Didn't they
have
knock
people
on
that don't
doors to
believe that. They think
inoculate
that
all of New York or some shit?
they believe that it was all 100% for the greater good and that they don't care. And it's like, okay, you know what? We're not going to know whether or not it was for the greater good until years from now.
Till the
Well,
zombies
I'm
But
get
guess
back up.
what?
I'm
Not
gonna.
one-
s- I'm,
guess what? I never got the vaccine and I'm doing just fine.
I'll
I'm
say
doing
this:
just fine. I
a
already
lot
know
of
for a fact that okay, you need to go. You need to go.
a
Move.
lot of sins have been
Move. I will do
committed
it.
in the name of greater good.
Well, since it's already been brought up, Hitler acted in what he thought was the greater good for his
For the
people.
greater good.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
For-
for the greater.
Yeah, he thought it was all for the greater good.
Huh.
That's why the phrase is the road to hell is paved with good
With good
intentions.
intentions.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
All right, thank you, baby. Now please go.
Because
No,
the bad
No.
guys never see themselves as bad guys. They're always like, I was doing this for a good reason. I was trying to help people.
Well,
It's
and
like
here's
the
the other
But you
side of
let
that
that
coin.
power go to your noodle and now you're in control.
Well, here's the other side of that coin. These jihadists, they're doing it for their greater good.
Right.
Good is nothing but a concept of what we perceive as good or bad.
Exactly.
So, I mean,
It's
to say for the
opinion.
greater good, you're not taking an individual's value into it. You're assuming that
Yeah.
what you're thinking is right and everyone else is wrong.
I mean,
Yeah.
at the same time, if you were to look at the jihadists and what they believe, these extremists believe that blowing people up and taking themselves with it will grant them into heaven. I really don't see how mass killing can be on the right side of history, and I think that's
It's the
why-
intention.
yeah, in their mind though, it is all for the greater cause. But at what
Mhm.
point do you sit there and say, okay, my greater cause might not be the best way to do it? Like, let's find another
The
way
death
to
of
get into
so
heaven.
many people. Yeah.
And
I
that's
kinda want-
where the indoctrination comes in. You train
know,
them young, you train them up, and then they grow up thinking, "Oh, we need big government. Oh, we need to let them decide what's
Don't.
good and what's not." And that's how we slowly develop into a socialist economy or socialist country.
And this is where I try to tell people, you really don't need, like for me, I live in the middle of the fucking desert. The desert. People think there's no life out here. I have mule deer 20 miles out that I can go drop and hunt. I have quail, dove, rabbit, fucking snake. I have fish that I can pull out of the Colorado River. If shit were to hit the fan, I could survive out here. It'd be hot as fuck in the summer with no power, but we'd figure something out using solar or fucking wind turbine. Because I figured out a long time ago that if you take the fucking the motor from a treadmill and you reverse the polarity, so pretty much negatives positive, positives negative, and you hook up some gears corresponding a shaft with the fucking windmill, you can supply your own fucking power.
Well, yeah, I mean, you just need something with a stator
Yeah.
to break the magnetic field. Once you break the
Violinist.
magnetic field, that produces electricity.
Yeah. It ain't that fucking hard, and
And
you can
honestly, if
find
you
that
wanted to
with
beat the
junk.
heat, all you'd have to do is dig yourself a little tunnel, and you'd be fine in the middle of summer.
I mean, what I really could do is what they did back in the day before AC. So build a porch area that's open to the house and windows, and you hang sheets that you keep fucking wet the whole fucking time. So you just keep them wet, and when that wind hits, it's gonna blow cold air through that fucking wet sheet. That's how motherfuckers in the South kept fucking cool when there was an AC. I've seen the fucking pictures of the plantation houses like that now. And I asked my grandma one day, I was like, Grandma, what the hell is that? She's like, that was AC back in the day. I'm like, no way. She's like, yeah, they used to just get them real wet and sit out there, and the wind was blowing and it blow through the house and you keep everybody cool. That's why you see all those southern plantation houses with those porches that wrapped around the entire
And
house.
maybe that's where ride 'em hard and put 'em up wet comes from.
Well, that was a horse thing.
Probably.
The horses.
Mm-hmm.
Or, the gargoyles.
But I think it's just like like these people that are like, oh, we need the government. Oh, you need to stop the indoctrination and you need to think for yourself. That's why I'm glad my grandfather raised me with a sense of, you know, independence, the ability to think for myself. I know the army didn't appreciate me wanting to think for myself, but it was just, at that point, I'm just thinking, these people, these fucking young kids are just sucking to fucking big government's fucking titty. And then they're just getting rammed, and they're just going to get rammed in the ass later by the big red, white, and blue weenie.
One thing that I completely hate about the government is these benefits, handouts, welfare, and things like that. And the reason why is because I see it at work. I'm part of the leadership of the place that I work at. I'm one of the ones that do hiring, firing, and manage my own team of associates. In my section, I don't have this problem, thank God. But in another section at work, we have people that literally will refuse to work longer than X amount of hours. And the reason why is because if they make too much money, they lose their benefits.
Oh shit.
They literally do not want to work more than, like, say, 24 hours in a week because they'll be making too much money and they'll lose all their government handouts and government benefits. It's like, do you not have any aspirations? Do you not have any drive or motivation to ascend past where you're dependent on others?
And that's recently, right? That's within like months, right?
Within the last year, yes.
COVID, bro.
No,
That's
I would
fucking.
say this is after the COVID handouts.
Oh, after. Like, I mean, I don't know, man. Like we see it here. Like we got all these people that rather just fucking beg and be on assistance, and I'm like, bro, you are perfectly able to work.
If you make more than, I don't remember what it is, but if you make more than a certain amount of money, you lose like Section 8 housing benefits.
Yeah,
And then
like,
your rent goes up and things like that. Those are the benefits they're talking about, and they don't want to
You
lose
can
them.
lose your Section 8 HUD housing. You can lose your food stamps. You can lose your TANF. You can lose, all of your government benefits. If you're on Social Security disability and you make so much money from a job, you can lose your Social Security, or it can get, cut back because of how much money you're
we see
making.
that even within the veteran, benefits. If you,
well, yeah.
to an extent, if you are rated anything, I think it's higher than 30%, but rated unemployable, you get paid at 100% even with your 30% rating. And if you make so much money, then you can lose all of it and have to and be forced to pay anything you got back.
So
I'm glad I wasn't selected as unemployable because I'm at 70% myself.
So speaking that, and I want to get everybody's and I want everybody to know this. I don't know if everybody's seen it or heard about it. I still keep up with what's going on, and not just my branch, but all the branches. And I guess the Pentagon and some generals are looking to cut special duty pay. and that is for like your recruiters, your drill instructors, drill sergeants. Like, fuck,
And then
there's
they
a
wonder
couple of
why retention
retention.
is all time low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what they're gonna go do is, I think it was the Air Force was saying or the Army. I don't know which branch, but it was one. It was us or them. Said that they were gonna start handing out $50,000 sign-on bonuses. I'm like, wait, so you're gonna cut special duty pay, but increase sign-on bonuses, so you can get
Because
people to
I think
join?
special duty pay is tax free, but sign on bonuses are taxed.
Well, you also
I'm not
know
sure they're tax
now.
free though.
I know the Army's done it. I don't know if the Marine Corps has done it yet. I don't know, but they're starting
They're
to
only taxed if you do them stateside. If you do them while deployed, which I've heard of people
But-
doing, then it's not taxable.
like if you look it up in the military times, Army times, whatever, branches are starting to no longer require a high school diploma to join.
It's because retention and enlistment is so damn low.
Well, I mean,
And
when
they
don't they have to have a GED or so many college credits though?
don't even gotta have that now. From what I'm seeing, so we get the fucking idiots. And then they got this other thing they said that's really got me questioning, where it's no matter if you had like severe alcoholism, drug addiction, like you could be a fucking tweaker living under a fucking bridge for like 3 months and get clean enough for like 30 to like 60 days where you're clean enough and you could just go to a recruiting office, fucking and enlist, and they'll just be like, okay, so you smoked meth 3 months ago, and now you want to join the army. You have no high school diploma. You dropped out in like the 7th fucking grade. Okay, we'll fucking take you. The fuck?
Again, they can't keep people in and they
Ah!
can't get people to sign up. I mean, they've ruined a lot of the reasons why people would sign up. I mean, the only good thing left is a 9/11, and most people will get that, do your 4 years, and get the hell out, and that'll be that. But
Like I
other
had to
than the
deal with idiots.
9/11,
Oh yeah,
what's the point of staying in?
like
You
dude,
now
they
get
have.
they
It's
now
so
get forced
bad.
into a 401k. The military retirement system has got screwed. You now get forced into a 401k, and I have a 401k with my civilian employer, and I've lost over $1,000, and I didn't even have that much in it so far from this economy. So everyone in the military that's been investing in this new 401k thing has lost money on it. But that's what they want their retirement to be, and you can't touch it till you're 65. Well, what
You
the hell
know,
is the point of doing the military?
like me, I was only in for 3.5 fucking years. I signed up for 6. I got blown the fuck up. Had a bunch of fucking physical therapy. Had a shitty fucking command towards my last fucking my last duty station, and they were like, "Oh, you're malingering, da 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 da. You can do all this shit, da 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 da. You're just faking it." I'm like, "Fuck you guys." And they got to the point where I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. You guys want to get me out so damn bad? Find a way to medically chapter me out, and I will fucking sign the papers. Said it to him just like that. I will fucking sign them. Fuck you guys. I'm fucking done. So I fucking got out and fucked myself on that, and then there's, because everybody thinks, oh man, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna be a fucking, some people think I'm gonna go in and be a lifer, do 3, 4, 5 fucking years, see all the bureaucratic toxic bullshit, and like, dude, I've had a fucking enough of this shit. I want the fuck out.
Hey, to
Fuck
be fair, I
re-up.
lasted 12 years, okay?
Hey, that was Navy though.
Oh
That's
man,
a
don't get me
another.
started. You will not believe the political bullshit that is put up with in the Navy. We went from taking care of our own to we're going to let politics decide it. Do you remember when Don't Ask, Don't Tell was repealed?
Yes,
Yes,
I was out,
Okay,
but yes.
that was shortly after I
this
got
is a
out.
prime example. This is a prime example of the political nature. When Don't Ask, Don't Tell was repealed, not too long after that, the captain of my ship, the commanding officer, probably the best commanding officer I've ever had. he was putting his boondockers up the chief's mess and the officer mess's ass because of the way they had been treating sailors, and he was making sure sailors are being taken care of. Well, somebody took some video clips that he made back in 2006, 2007 to boost morale of the crew, gave them to a local news agency, and that local news agency ran a story. And because he used the word fag in these clips, and it was taken so far out of context, he was used as a sacrificial lamb to be like, oh, look, we're completely inclusive to all communities. This CO said bad words. Now we're going to fire him, and we got a brand new commanding officer 2 days before deployment, and we ended up with about 3 or 4 suicides at deployment. Actually,
That's awful.
Fuck,
That's so
bro.
awful. Like I really think that they're so worried about, you know, the political correctness that they're not even paying attention to the fact that their choices are literally killing our service members, whether it be by their own hand or because of bad decisions put them in situations where the enemy takes their lives, whatever. They're not thinking about what can we do to win this war and bring as many of our men home as possible. They're not thinking about that. And this is why the whole 22 a day is such a big thing throughout the community right now. Well, why is that? Because you had these people who are supposed to be helping us and guiding us and leading us screaming at us because our hand was in our pocket. Okay, sure, it's whatever. We're, at least in the Marines, don't put your hands in your pocket, whatever. But is it really enough to bring somebody's mental state so far down that they feel like living is not the answer because they were caught with their hand in their pocket? Like, there needs to be, and I know this seems to be a little bit more of the of a, you know, liberal side of things, but at what point do we sit there and say, you were wrong, but I'm
Like,
not
if you're in
going
the
to make you feel like absolute shit for it? I mean, these are people who have been in the military for years already that are getting chewed out by somebody who's literally been in maybe a year or two longer. They just happen to suck enough dick under the table that they were able to rank up fast enough to be, you know, in these positions. And they're absolute shit leaders. And I'm so pissed that Twitch decided to just delete all my past stuff, because I would reference people to go back and watch the leadership episode that we had, because we talked a lot about it in that one. So we might have to go back and do some of these topics again, so that way we have
definitely
a discussion of them on file.
Now that they're archiving.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing that you got to remember is this is where the military and the government parallels. Those who reach positions of power will do anything to maintain those positions of power, including walk upon the bodies of their subordinates to further promote themselves. There's one thing. It's one thing that if you're in a leadership position and you're upheld by the hard work of your juniors, because your juniors actually putting forth hard work and you're taking care of them.
I don't care, because
it's something completely else to run them into the damn ground and steal all of their credit.
So, going off of what you said, Cujo, I've heard a lot about how fucked up the Navy is. Apparently, there was a story. Angry Cops, love him, love his fucking content, great guy. He did a video on it where apparently, I think it was a basic training sergeant major or some TRADOC sergeant major was threatening the soldiers that were potential heat casualties, that if they went and saw Doc or saw medical, that they would be threatened with an Article 15.
Yeah.
Was it
now
Army?
an Article
It was Army,
15,
wasn't it? It was the Army, wasn't it?
Yeah, now in Article 15, I believe. So we have what is called. So you would have a chew. So you would have in the hierarchy a verbal chewing out. Then you would have a negative counseling, and then once you get a couple of those for the same thing, you get an Article 15. If you get so many Article 15s, you're out.
Right.
Yeah, no, but at the same time, that falls in line with what I mentioned. They will do anything to maintain their power, and anything that makes them look bad has got to go. That's where the government and the military leadership falls in line.
Oh, but this backfired on him so well. So well. So
it's only that can happen all the time.
Angry Cops has a way.
Oh, man. Oh, I love him. God damn it. No, the one that got me going and we'll save that for another time. I'll talk to you guys later about it. I think that's a really good topic for another episode. But yeah,
Throw it
this
in the
shit
suggestion file.
where just how I don't know, just like the VA, everything, the government, it's just everybody's fucking up. Nobody's taking accountability. Everybody's blaming this person, this group. Oh, like you're a grown ass adult. Take responsibility, move the fuck on, and let's try to pull our heads out of our asses long enough so we don't drive over 200 what how old is America? It's over what, 250 years old, well over that.
Almost, yeah, 247 or something like that.
We're almost to 250. Let's make it to at least 3 before we drive this bitch off into a ditch. Because I'm going to say this as a person that studies history, there has never been a civilization that has lasted over what fuck, and the longest, I mean, the fucking Egyptians had multiple kingdoms and stages. The Chinese had multiple dynasties. These were all different political changes, and these involved wars in between, massive wars. So that was when one dynasty fell, another arose. It's the same thing, like Rome. Rome was only around for how many hundreds of years?
I want to say a couple thousand.
Okay, so a couple thousand, and then boom, collapsed. I don't see us not going that long, especially with the fucking Tide Pod generation. Oh God, I'm scared from. Oh God.
Look, I just want to say this one last hateful thing, and then I gotta go because it's 10 o'clock here. But the one good thing about these LGBT yahoos forcing people to transition and all the other good thing is that it's taking people out of the gene pool.
True. True.
They're getting some Darwin awards by removing themselves from the gene pool.
Nikki, thank you for letting me stick my nose in. I just
Of
saw you
course.
were on and thought I would see if I can get myself added back onto any government watch list. So, FBI agent, suck my dick. Let's do it.
Well, Cujo, your picture's not in
I
the
saw hearing-
logo for no reason. You're an OG here. You're always welcome.
All right, thank you. I gotta go. Y'all have a great
night.
evening.
Thank you so
You
much
too,
for
man.
joining. All right.
But
Well,
yeah.
we are within the last 30 minutes of our stream. We can try to make this a little bit more light, upbeat, and fun, which I think would be fun.
Oh
I don't know what
God.
to do. What should we talk about?
What do we?
What do we talk about?
More politics. Oh God, not more politics.
Oh no, there's
God,
just
my
too
head.
many politics. I need
Man.
That might make people cry, and then
Has
they'll
every-
leave.
I'll say this though. Has everybody seen that video of Joe Biden eating shit on the bicycle?
Yes. Who hasn't seen that though?
Beautiful, beautiful. I'm sitting here. I'm like, wow. This guy just ate so hard of shit. Like,
I don't
bro.
judge people who crash on bicycles because I also cannot ride bicycles.
I can't either. The last time I tried riding an actual bicycle was a couple years before my accident. So it's been about 4 to 5 years now. And me and my friend, we were totally drunk. And we were walking back from the bar across the street. And there was this kid, this poor kid. He couldn't have been older than like 21. He was a young guy. And he's just like kind of riding his bicycle down the street, and my friend, who is a few years older than me, she was pretty drunk, but she's one of those like super carefree when she's drunk. Everything's funny, everything is just there as entertainment for her. Well, she walks up to this kid who's riding very slow and goes, "Hey, can I ride your bike?" And he's like, "Okay." he just totally lets this random drunk woman on the side of the road ride his bike. Well, she decides to take it down the street, across a major road, down another side street, totally
Jesus.
falls on the bike. It's like laying in the middle of the road. She's laying in the middle of the road just dying laughing. And I had already gone chasing after her, and this kid's still standing over where we were, just like, what is going on? I was like, she just crashed her bike. I'm going to go get it. So I go over and I try to ride the bike back. I get maybe 4 feet and I'm now on the floor with the bike. And I'm like, and I'm thinking, I'm like, is there something wrong with this bike? And then it came to me, I'm like, no, we're just both drunk bitches, like trying to ride this poor kid's bike. And I'm like, I really hope we didn't like damage the bike or anything, because this is now 2 drunk women that have fallen on this bike in the middle of the street at like 2:00 in the morning. But yeah, but the thing is that when I was on the bike, I was drunk, but I was sober enough to like remember the whole thing. That when they say that once you learn how to ride a bike, you never forget, that shit's fucking false. Because I think when I used to ride a bike regularly, I wasn't the body shape that I am now. I was a little bit more equally proportioned, and now I'm all top heavy. So trying to balance was like literally taking something like this and trying to balance it on your finger, like, and having the balance.
How do you get the handlebars? You'd be like, handlebars.
Sixer, I'm telling you, I was like a buoy in the water trying to just stay level. It just was awful. It was so bad. I'm like, I am never, ever, ever going to do that again. And now after my accident, I probably never will ride a bicycle again. But that's beside the point.
We'll get a tandem. We can try and ride it together so we can both crash.
You keep us balanced.
Speaking of bicycles, though,
I have no balance. That's.
Well, then we'll never make it, because I can't be the one to balance.
It's done?
Almost.
So we all. So has anybody here ever seen a motorcycle jump?
What happened?
Like Evel Knievel?
Yeah.
Like a tabletop.
Did you watch on here?
So,
you wanna watch
like a tabletop jump. So we made a tabletop jump out of sand, out of like dirt. We packed it, everything. And this shit was fucking great. This shit was fucking like, we made our own little fucking outside fucking dirt bike course and everything. And our nephew, Cody, he was like 11. And remember, my brother bought him one of those fucking nice ass fucking Yamaha fucking 80s, the fucking YZ80. And he's sitting there, he's fucking going around the, just driving around on the flat, ground, just, oh man, I'm fucking badass, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, boy, you ain't shit. And me and my brother Michael are sitting there, we're like, you know what? You ain't got no, and the one thing that is the greatest thing to ever tell another male to get him to do something, it's like, man, you ain't got no balls. Jump that fucking tabletop.
Oh, can I just direct everybody to the comments section really quick on Twitch? Oh, that was my son, and he is just the cutest ever.
Right on.
To top it off with the LOL.
That's LOL.
He took my phone, and he's saying his own thing right now. So he says, I love you, Mom. I like your podcast. You're the best mom ever. Love you, bye. LOL.
Love you, bye.
Stop saying these freaking backwards.
So my nephew, he's going right. He guns the bitch. Like, he guns it. Like, we told him, just fucking give it a little putt-putt. Fucking Max cute shit, though. We give him a little putt-putt. We told him, we actually showed him how to do it and all that. We're like, okay, so you're going to do it the same way we fucking told you. He's like 11 or 12. 11 or 12-year-old ain't going to fucking listen. He gets on that motherfucker, goes to putt-putt, and then, bah!
Fucking bad words.
Okay. So he says, I meant bad words, not backwards. Well, little punk, stop saying bad words right now. Not you, Mom. Talking your friend, not Jill. So, JB, he's talking to you. Stop cussing.
Yeah, he's saying them bad words, JB.
Okay. Sorry, I'll tone it down. Jeebus.
He is downstairs just shrieking laughing right now.
Jeebus.
I think that's great.
I'll keep it PG right now. Jeebus. But, so he jumps. And I'm so glad he landed this, because my mom and my brother would have chewed me out.
They would have murdered you.
Oh, I would have got murdered. He jumps and does a flip and lands perfectly on all the tires. Turns, does the flip, lands perfectly, and then proceeds to. Sorry, Max, gotta say it for
Earmuffs.
fluidity. Yeah, earmuffs. That
Earmuffs.
boy
F boy.
pissed himself like somebody poured a 5-gallon bucket down his fucking his riding pants.
Scary.
Like his riding boots, you know, the ones that are like all high that have like the buckles and they're all like fucking hard, like almost Kevlar, so you don't like wreck your shins or anything riding through like brush. Yeah, those were filled with pee.
That's gross.
Gross.
And they were brand new, and my brother was like,
Gross.
LOL, that's
He-
so funny. Jesus Christ, that's funny.
he's like, and I remember my oldest brother sitting there. He's like, "You really had my son jump it?" I'm like, "We told him how to jump it, to where he would have just went up and went over. He decided we wanted to be evil Knievel and pin the thing in freaking third gear.
Hey, this is his prerogative, okay?
He
Britney
was
Spears
11.
told him he could do what he wants.
Hey, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the status quo.
And this kid's sitting here. My nephew, love him to death. If he ever sees this on YouTube, he's gonna kill me.
I will say,
well,
Crayola
let's
Commando,
tag
I'm
him.
going to assume by that name that you're a Marine, because crayons are the best food ever, and I will say that. Oh, well, it's
He just-
from Scars of War. Welcome, welcome. I will say right now, I apologize for the chat. The status quo disrupt the chat from that particular profile is my 6-year-old son talking into the phone and sending it because it's funny to him. And you know what? We're here for a good
Great.
time, not a long time. So
It's all
might
great.
as well, let him have some fun. He's telling people not to cuss and saying I'm the best mom ever. So why would I stop that?
And then PP.
Yeah. And then my nephew pissing
Don't
his
cuss
boots
PP.
first time.
Don't cuss, PP.
PP. Oh, so I can't say piss?
I can hear
Yeah.
him downstairs. He is just laughing like a freaking hyena.
I'm sitting here. I'm just like,
He's
I mean,
6, so
I've always been very persuasive. I mean, there was a time where I paid my battle buddy $50 to
there it is.
Max earmuffs.
Earmuffs.
This is adult.
Max,
you
put
know.
your earmuffs on. Cover your ears. Real
I don't
quick.
want him getting any ideas. This is a bad one. This needs to be shared because this is a veteran podcast with
Honestly,
veteran stories.
He's probably
like
heard
civilian
worse.
knowledge.
He's probably heard worse.
So here's the thing. I paid homeboy $50 to dunk his nuts into a plastic fan at high speed on the number 3 setting.
Wow, that sounds
And
painful.
yeah, I'm a very persuasive person. Like one time I had my brother persuaded to dunk his shoes in gasoline, wear
A
6
triple
pairs of
dog
socks.
dare ya.
I mean, that particular
my-
account is also a mod. I don't think you can mute another mod.
No.
My brothers hated
What,
me.
Max? We nuts Bueller?
Bueller.
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 Fucking Ben Stein. Who
Crayola
doesn't love Ben
Commando, we
Stein?
are actually towards the end of our stream here, so we've moved in from the serious
The
chat
bull-
into the excuse me, son, what did you just say?
But you can check it out on
PP,
the
butthole
VOD.
B word, be rude,
That
be
VOD
rude,
yeah.
be ruby,
That
word
VOD
fucking
is always
sucks.
up.
I'm not
And,
gonna keep
we
my
also-
stream on forever, son.
Don't we have a YouTube now?
We do have a YouTube channel. It is the
Ooh.
status quo. Wait, what is it? Hold on.
Ooh.
It is.
So we
it
sexy
It'll be
now.
on there tomorrow.
The status quo veterans vlog. I will go ahead
sexy now.
and drop that into the chat here if it will let me. Where's the
Yeah.
freaking paste button?
All I'm gonna say is YouTube is forever, just like herpes.
So that is our YouTube channel. If for some reason you cannot watch the stream, but you want to watch it later or anything like that, Twitch only keeps videos for so long. but the videos will also be uploaded to YouTube. I'm not exactly sure how long it takes to, Max, stop right now. They don't delete channels if they're being used.
Oh yeah, no.
And it's attached to
I
the
love
Twitch
it.
account, so it's brand new, so I don't think it's going to be deleted anytime soon. But
It's
go
gonna be so
ahead
beautiful.
and go ahead and subscribe to there as well, so that way if you can't watch the stream live, or for some reason it's later on and you want to go back to it a couple months down the road, it will be on YouTube as well.
Forever. This face forever.
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 Max, I'm not going to tell you again. Stop saying things like that, or I will take the phone back from you.
I swear to God, there's gonna be one podcast where I show up as a fucking D&D character. I'm gonna show up as a fucking elf mage, just sitting here like, "Hello, my children."
How many October episodes do we have?
Oh my God, I'm gonna show up as a priest for Tiamat.
Well, I would like
Like,
to get back. I would like to get back into the once a
Weekly?
week, and if not once a week, at least every 2 weeks, try to get back into it.
Yeah.
We were doing this every single week, and then summer hit, kids were home. We
Shit went
definitely had
crazy.
a lot of things going on, and people were switching jobs. A lot of our host speakers, speakers and stuff that come on, were just really busy with life. So we took a time off.
NASA.
Yeah, Apollo went to NASA. We had Twinkles. Why are you calling Twinkles? But Twisted.
Oh my God.
He ended up actually
Twinkles.
ESing from the Navy and getting a new job. So congratulations to him. I know that he was very excited. And then we have
Wait, is his new job drinking by the
Kitty or
pool?
whatever his name is. He actually just started a new job as well, which is fantastic for him. I'm happy for him. We've got a lot of people making big money moves, so we took some time off so everybody can get adjusted to their new schedule. I'm really
got a new
quiet.
job.
Oh no, hold on. Let me. Is that any better? I just adjusted it.
I think it's funny as shit that he has to drive the Fort Hood to turn in his fucking cat card and shit.
Perfect. I wish somebody had told me earlier. That makes me sad because I am not a quiet person. No, they were saying that on the stream that I'm a lot quieter than everybody else. And when we did the sound check, it was looked like it was right, but maybe I was. No, you're absolutely fine. And thank you for joining us today. We try to normally, before we took the summer off, we try to do this every week, but now that we're getting back into it, we might make it every other week. We sit here and we talk about anything, on our minds as veterans, things that happened in our service, things that happened post service. No, son, we are not a jail, according to what you just asked.
Me not walking right after the big green weenie, just a whole bunch of different things. We talk about
things, we want the right people to hear, not necessarily our complaints, but our concerns. Different ways that leadership could be better, different ways that, the system could be better in general. And it's not always complaints. Sometimes it is praises. These are the things that they did right. These are the things, that we want to see more of. And some of our streams are literally just talking about the good old days. We want to bring awareness to our situation as veterans. We want people to understand who we are, so the stigma of veterans being this PTSD time bomb can hopefully dissipate. That's what we want. That's what we're trying to go for.
'Cause that's not good.
I'm not going to name names or name particular organizations or companies or people or streamers or anything like that, but I have been in the works with other big name streamers and stuff like that to get more exposure, and possibly even, I want to say, some guest hosts, some pretty big names. And being as a lot of people that do watch this are veterans, if I say them, you'll know exactly who I'm talking about. And I don't want to say them now because nothing is set in stone. So, why don't you play? Max, can you please stop, honey? Yes, guest speakers. Thank you, Hoods. That's exactly what I'm talking about. We're trying to branch out. I know a lot of it that I'm doing, a lot of even my own team doesn't quite necessarily know about just yet. But I am waiting for things to be a little bit more concrete, because once they are, I have some big news, and the big news will come with these potential speakers. So, oh, John, I know who you are. Yes, me and you butt heads quite often on Vet TV. And that's definitely one of, I'm not going to say nothing more than that. Our affiliation through there. No, definitely not often. I'm just saying that we have, and nothing in a bad way. I mean, we can definitely have a discussion and not hate each other. And that's another reason, you know, that if you ever want to come in and join us on these discussions, I would absolutely love to have you. The more people that we can actually have a discussion with different points of view on a lot of things is also something we're looking for. I tend to have a lot of people that are very like-minded as me on these on these discussions, and we're not hearing the other side of a lot of aspects like I would like to have, because at that point it's just hey, everybody agree with me, and that's not always what I'm looking for. I want to be able to hash things out in a positive way. I mean, you don't have to, even if it means, even if it is you just coming in here and chatting on the Twitch while we're live, that's still a discussion. That's still something that people can watch and follow along with. I'm not exactly sure. So what, I mean, you're saying you're not a social butterfly, you know, and that we don't often butt heads, but sometimes we do. So these videos will eventually be uploaded to YouTube. So I don't think that the chat will come through because it's on the stream. So they,
It's on the side.
But so yeah. So the Status Quo Disrupt channel that is commenting once again, for those who might be popping in right now, is my son. He is 6 years old. He is having a grand old time down there. We are trying to limit the curse words right now because he is watching and having a great time doing so. But I think we've got about 7 minutes left before we're going to wrap this up. And I do want to raid. I've got another friend of mine who I actually have subbed to on Twitch. He's another veteran that is pretty active sometimes in the Vet TV Discord server. He's very fun to watch. He plays a lot of games, Call of Duty, stuff like that. You know, so I do want to go and raid him here at the end. Let's see if there's something that you want to discuss. Sure. Oh, absolutely. Okay, so I'll go ahead and send you a server invite to the Status Quo, where I will be posting the events. I mean, I do post it also in that particular Discord server that we share, but if you want first of the line knowledge, then I will go ahead and invite you to that. Every now and then we do have discussions. Like I said, during the summer, everything kind of slowed way down, but I do want to start seeing that server pop back up again, because it is definitely a good place where people come in and do discuss things. It's not like the server that we share where it is just like the you know, the beer garden at the barracks where it's just anything goes, anybody says anything. It is more strictly, I want to say a little bit more on a, I don't even want to say the word professional, but it is more of a streamlined into, you know, this is what we're talking about server. But it is where, you know, anybody that follows rum. See, you know, I know a lot of people that like rum, and I've never been a rum fan, especially white rum. I think it tastes like chemicals, unless it's Malibu. Malibu's all right. But I'm a whiskey drinker because why not? Whiskey, I think, tastes the best.
Vodka.
But yeah, John, I will go ahead. Let me find you in here. Where are you? Right there. Invite to server. Let me move this out of the way. Invite to server. There it is. So I go ahead and I sent that to you so you can see exactly what we're doing. Once you get in there, go ahead and go into the welcome channel. Click every single one that pertains to you. Veteran, active duty. If you're all of those, if you're every single branch, go ahead and click every single branch. But go ahead and put whether you're active duty or a veteran and your branch of service, and then you'll get your little icon. It's pretty cute. I think it's cute anyway because I made it. Whiskey and Dr. Pepper Zero Cream Soda. You know, my daughter had a Dr. Pepper cream soda yesterday. It wasn't the zero, but it definitely did not have whiskey in it. She comes into my room the other night, and I'm drinking a Jack and Coke, and she's like, "Can I have a sip?" And I was like, "Absolutely not." And she's like, "Why not?" And I'm like, "Because there's alcohol in it." She's like, "So?" And I'm like, no. She's like, oh, "Okay." You're out of your mind, child. But yeah, exactly. But anyways, let's go ahead and wrap this up a couple minutes early. Where did it go again? I lost the freaking leg. Let me copy. Once again, it does not. Paste. All right, here we go. We are going to raid. We've got 10 seconds left, so thank you everybody for coming to watch our stream. We are going to go and raid Eyes of Death. He is another veteran that is a good friend of mine. So let's go raid him, give him some cheers, give up that hype squad. He's a great guy. He's fun to watch. Here we go. Here we go.